Welcome back to Comic Book Straight Talk. This is Terry French Tickler French.
This is Captain Dalian.
And this is Eric the Knucklehead Eaton. This week's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about comic books, kind of behind the counter kind of deal. If you're getting into comics, don't know what to do as far as trading off comics that you've read, maybe places to pick up comics, or you have a comic that you want to preserve because you really enjoy the title, or maybe it's a key issue. We're going to go over some points on what to do with that. Starting off, comic book trading. Most comic book shops, your local comic shops included, or groups on Facebook, Craigslist, will trade and buy and sell comics. You both, Captain and Terry, have been into comics combined 187 years. They have a lot of knowledge. Is there any particular, do you guys like dealing with shops or individuals better?
It just depends. Certain shops and certain individuals, they're different. So it depends on how you get along with them. You know, it's just the interaction between you and the shop or you and the individual.
Okay. If I go to deal with a shop, I know I'm not going to get as good a deal because the shop needs to make the money as if I could deal with someone face to face, like in a parking lot, doing a comic deal.
Dark alleys.
Dark alleys,
white vans, free puppies.
Yeah, normally a shop has to meet their overhead. They have a building to pay for, and sometimes employees. Yeah, they usually can't give you as good a deal as individual.
Right, and some shops, they'll be looking for specific books, so they might pay you more than normal, or a lot of shops will have more key issues for the books you're looking for.
And there's also certain shops will offer you more than other shops. A lot of one shop will offer you X amount, another shop will offer you X amount. It depends on what they're looking for, how much they have to pay for something. And then there's other stores that just deal in just a little bit of everything, and those usually are the shops you don't want to try to trade your books into because they're usually going to offer you the lowest price they can offer whatsoever.
10 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, 10 cents on the dollar.
10 cents each.
Right.
You go to a true comic shop, they're going to offer you, they're probably going to look it up in the guide. The Overstreet, look at what the Overstreet sells for, what the book sells for on Overstreet. Probably look on eBay, see what eBay's selling for. And then they're going to offer you 20 to 30, maybe 40%. If you get 40%, you're doing real good. But they're going to hit probably about 20 to 25% of what the value of the book is.
Right, which on their end is reasonable. If you have a $100 comic and you offer someone $80, that $100 comic might sit in your shop for months.
Mm-hmm.
And, it doesn't take up a lot of real estate as far as space-wise and display, but it still takes up space. Space that a book that you might have $3 or $4 selling for $30 or $40 all the time takes up. So, on that side of the comic end, that's how they justify. A lot of people will say, and they never give them anything for their comics and, they'll rip you off. That's the reasoning behind it. I mean, it's all a money thing. It's not that they're trying to take you for everything you're worth. They are in the business to make money, but it also is a slow turnaround on some issues. You have a $1,000 issue. Not everyone can afford a $1,000 issue. You're going to sell more $5 and $10 issues than that $1,000 issue at all.
So basically, buying a said book like that, $1,000 book, you're basically going to have to pay rental space for that book because it's just going to be sitting for a while.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're selling a $1,000 book to a shop, they're going to offer you $200 to $300, $400, somewhere around there.
They usually like to, at the very least, double their money.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Right. Because they may put $1,000 on the book when it's theirs. They may put $800. They may grade it, or price it a little bit lower to entice people to buy it. So they need, like you say, double their money so they can make profit on it.
So, and I mean, if you're going to sell a book that caliber, you can always check the Facebook groups. You can always check eBay is a really good place. Just make sure if you do anything online, package really well, take a ton of pictures because you can be taken for a lot of money on eBay and Facebook groups. There's a lot of people where there's money in anything. There's always people that are going to try to scam you out of it.
Well, now, if you want to sell some books or a particular book, you probably need to do the work yourself.
Right.
If you just try to sell it to a shop or sell it on eBay, Craigslist, whatever, or sell it to an individual, you need to shop it around. You need to check to see what all the prices are. And like I said, if you have like a collection or something like that and you want to get the most out of all these books that you have, rather than just selling it as a whole, you're not going to get as much money for it. you're going to take the time, and it's going to be a lot of time probably to sell it yourself, either individually to other individuals, piece by piece, or on eBay to get the most of your money. So it's going to take a lot of your time.
Do the research, grade the book properly, look several different places where take the high, you could take that one place is selling it for this amount, that's a high place, you find a low place, you find eBay, you find a medium in there that you're happy with, and you sell it for that price.
Yeah, to get the most of your money, you need to educate yourself.
Yes,
that's
the key.
You're going to have to learn how to grade.
Right.
Even when you list it on eBay, you can say you're not a pro grader, and some people just show the picture of it. But I think to get the most of your money, you need to learn how to grade and know what you're selling, know what the quality of it is, know what the value of it is. And also another thing, when you're selling, say you're selling it on eBay or just to an individual, communication is big. I think a lot of sellers, they don't have any communication, and that's just to me, just not very, leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Now, with maximizing your dollars, you can grade your comics. There's 3 major companies that grade. There's CGC, CBCS, and PGA.
Are they still around?
Yeah, barely.
There's other companies too
There's other
around
companies.
the world.
Those are kind of the big.
I think
known
Australia
3.
has what? Magnum, I think.
But the 3 bigs here in the U.S. are like the ones you mentioned.
Now, if you're interested in going that route, it's the best way to preserve your comic. They'll have different standards. CGC has a standard from 1975. Forward is known as a modern tier. Then you can go back to economy, tiers like that. Those cost different amounts. A modern book will charge you, it's like $18 if you join their membership. And then you've got your shipping fees, which is like $13 plus $2 additional book. If it's a book that you truly love and enjoy, grade it. If it's not a book and you're just, it'd be cool to have a graded book, you're going to waste your money on that more times than not. A lot of people will say, hey, should I get this graded? Should I get this graded? If it's a key issue and it's a higher key issue, yes. That way you prevent any damage. But also I would check about maybe pressing it, maybe a light cleaning that's not going to fall under the restored grade. That way you get a blue label, which is CGC's label of non-restoration. That way you don't waste any money. Graded books do bring higher amounts at stores, online. A lot of stores and online will try to sell you an ungraded copy for the same price as a graded copy. Sometimes it happens, most of the time it doesn't.
You were saying if it's a book you love that you want to grade it, sure, but you also need to be realistic about it. I mean, just because you love the book, it may not be worth anything.
Right. That's the thing where you don't want to do everyone, but if a lot of people love owning just a graded copy.
There's a lot of people that that's all their collection is graded books now.
And they're like, this is the first comic I ever read or whatever, and it could be Batman 493. Nothing happened, but it meant something to them because the biggest question I see is, what is this worth? What is this worth? Well, the value is subjective. What's it worth to you? It might be worth $1 million to you. It's not worth anything. Sentimental value carries a lot.
But if it's a book that although you care a lot about it, you can at any time go to the comic shop and get another near mint copy of it. So it's not worth your time or money.
That's where you have to kind of
concentrate more on the books that you may have in your collection that are probably going to, in time, raise in value.
Right.
I think a good rule of thumb is if it's a key book, get it graded. If it's a Golden Age book, and Golden Age, I don't mean like little handy dandy. I mean like, a superhero book or something that's
All-Star Comics, timely,
detective,
old Captain America,
action, Captain America's. Really, Golden Age stuff and key books should be graded, period. And
the paper's getting to where...
Right.
If it's taken out a lot of different weather conditions, you're going to do a lot of deterioration.
If it's a book that you just enjoy, you know what? You can always buy another copy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't waste the money on getting those graded as opposed to getting the key issues graded, getting the older collector, Silver Age. I'd even throw in that too. Silver, gold and silver.
Especially some early
definitely
DCs are hard to find.
And the key books. Yeah.
Which a lot of now, because of the popularity of grading comics, most comic book shops in an area, at least one or two of them, will have it where you can actually submit through them. You'll go in there, you'll fill out paperwork. Basically, the paperwork will be, what is the comic title, what's the comic issue. They can give you an estimate on what they think it'll come back. They're not going to write down, an 8.5, and then it's going to magically come back an 8.5, which comic grading is on a scale of 100, and it's 1 to 10, and each point is taken down, which I think is a little strange because in 9s you can go 9, 9.2, 9.4, 9.6, 9.8, 9.9, and then 10, and that's the only grade that you can do that.
In increments like that.
Right. Every other grade it's a half point. It's 8, 8, 5, 9. And then 1, you have 1, 1.5, 1.8, and then 2. So it's kind of, those are the 2, the 1 to 2s, and the 9 to 10s are a little.
Going back to what Terry and Eric had said, knowing how to grade. Overstreet Price Guide puts out a book every year. It's obviously the price guide every year, but they also put out the Overstreet Guide to Grading, and in there they break everything down by grade. They have color examples. They show you what to look for. That is something every comic collector and seller should have.
So with the grading, because we had another question, do you guys think it will hurt the market long term? Because now you take a regular book, a regular key issue, ungraded or raw, that's $150 comic. You grade it, now it's $400. So, and now people want that $400 comic, but after you do that X amount of times, where'd all the money go? And you're sitting on it forever to try to resell it when you need your money out of it. Do you think it'll hurt long term or be a nice provision?
I think over time the market will adjust to that.
I think so. I think sports cards that hurt, coins that didn't. Comics are now becoming more of a commodity than just a time of leisure or hobby.
Well, what it does hurt is everybody's pocketbook nowadays, because everybody's grading the books and getting them submitted, and right now that makes them more expensive. So it costs you more money to try to get your book.
Well, and here's a thought.
And it's not just graded books. I'm not just saying just graded books. Just older books as a whole, especially Silver Age and Golden Age books, are just becoming more and more expensive.
With those tiers, though, you have to weigh in on the fact that a Golden or Silver Age book is going to cost you $40 plus just to have graded.
Right.
So if you have a 12-cent Daredevil, 48, that's mid-grade, would you grade it? I'd probably skip on that one. But, if it was a key issue or semi-key or, a second appearance, something like that, I'd have it graded. Just that way it kind of protects the book. But I would definitely, now with the popularity of pressing, I would check that avenue. So that way you get, it's like you're selling your car. You want the most money for your car. You're going to wash it before you sell it.
We might go into the pressing issue a little bit later,
That's
too.
Right. I was actually going to say, you brought that up. And that's not considered restoration.
Right.
A press is basically, pressing the book, getting the creases out, but you can. And that's actually become more popular lately. From 20 years or 15 years ago when I submitted stuff to CGC when they first started coming out, that had never been thought of. Now, that's kind of the norm. Press it and then have the presser send it off to get CGC graded or CBCS graded.
Right.
I think my point I was going to make a while ago was that I think 30 years from now, 40 years from now, you're going to see a bunch of graded books out in the market. They're going to start coming out. And in a way, I think that might hurt then, because you're not having to go try to find pristine copies or 7.5, 8.5 copies of like Hulk 181. You're not going to have to go knock on the doors or search eBay. They're going to be plentiful because of now people finding them and grading them, pressing them. They're going to be more plentiful than what that book really is.
That's become a bit of a question now. A lot of people ask, has the book been pressed now?
Yes.
Right.
And they're asking, I'm guessing, if it hasn't been pressed, they may want to get it pressed and think they can get a higher grade out of it.
Yeah, with a lot of damage, you can get the damage out. The press is just a high heat for a certain amount of time, depending on the damage. It does shorten the lifespan of the paper, but it's like 3 days or, over 50 years, it's 3 days, it's going to be fragile.
Again, if you press it, and you say it's going to shorten the lifespan, but if you're putting it into a CGC book, a graded book that has an inner well, it's not going to matter.
Right.
So,
yeah, that part's not going to matter. I would suggest, most pressing is going to cost you between $10 and $30. So it's something you have to factor in on top of the grading fee. I want to do it for every book because every book's not going to be worth it. But for most of your bigger keys, is it worth throwing $10, $20 to try to get a grade?
Let's say I have a key issue that I think is a key that's the first time that, Batman wore this costume. The first neon Batman costume. Should I go get that graded?
If later on it affected him, if he stuck with that and that was the most influential suit he ever wore, yeah, but most likely.
The first time he drove this, Dodge Charger Batmobile. People, is that considered a key?
Like, one of the, it's sort of they consider it a semi-key is not Batman's first appearance, but his first appearance in Batman.
Right.
But then that falls as a first appearance, though.
Well,
In a sense.
it's not his first appearance, but it's his
His
first
first
appearance
appearance
in
in
this
Batman.
particular. Yeah,
Okay.
I think I can't remember. I think he appeared in Detective.
Yeah.
And then later on he appears in Batman.
Okay. So really, when we say keys, we mean first appearances.
First appearances.
Cameo.
Yes,
Now let's break that down further. Cameo appearances.
cameos. It's strange that now you see more of that than you have
That
before.
you did 10 years ago.
Just
12
trying to
years
bring
ago.
up cameos.
Because you got the Hulk 180
That's
and the
the
Hulk
biggest.
181.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest fight there is. Because if you take on the same, which Hulk 180 they consider the first cameo appearance of the Wolverine, because he makes his appearance on the last page.
I heard he's a popular character.
Yeah, he stuck
Well,
around for a couple years. He was in a lot
I
of
think
issues.
They have
that
a
Terry
picture of
loves.
a picture of his head. That's same with Darkseid. He's just a picture of his head in the monitor. Is that right? I
For
can't remember.
Wolverine? No, it's a full body.
It's a full body actor.
Yeah, the
back
Wolf
page.
Darkseid.
I just remember that there's a last panel in
Yeah,
Hulk
he's just-
181,
yeah.
and it's just.
And then 181 considers his
I meant 180.
first.
Yeah.
Now it's even noted first full appearance, and then they'll put first cameo appearance, which a lot of people, if they affected it, the book, then that should be their first appearance, or if they made the cover, that should be their first appearance. But with X-Men 282, they consider that the first cameo of Bishop, and 283 the first full appearance of Bishop. But on 282, Bishop's on the cover, and it says, now enter Bishop or enter the mutant Bishop. So it's a little.
Well, and things
crazy.
change too.
Right.
For the longest time, the Overstreet Guide had Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, 134,
Mm-hmm.
the first Darkseid.
Okay.
And then the last few years, last couple, maybe 3 years, it's changed to Forever People. Number 1 is now the first full Darkseid.
Okay.
So, I mean, these things change.
Yeah, it changes with
It's
the.
also interesting. Okay, you remember 91, the little Marvel Skybox or whatever brand cards that they came out with, the little trading cards? On the backs of all those, they would show, because if there was a character on the front, they'd show the character's first appearance in a Marvel comic. If you had the Venom card, and now these were put out by Skybox but approved by Marvel, if you had the Venom card, it said first appearance Spider-Man 299. But it's accredited to 300, and 299 now is his first cameo appearance.
What about 298?
Well, with Eddie Brock.
He's in the shadows.
Yeah, he's in the shadow.
Is
Yeah.
it 298?
I think so.
Which issue is the little circle of his head? Is that 298? I think it's 298.
But anyway, back to the grading.
Right.
We're getting off topic here.
Yeah, we
Sorry.
I wanted to say something with grading, like we had talked about with the CGC and PGX. Also, do your research on which company you want to go with. You can go online and you can read about CGC, you can read about CBCS and PGX, and figure out which company you want to go with.
Yeah, there's good and bad reviews for all three.
And then once you get an idea of yourself, you can then go talk to somebody that knows a little bit more about it. Say you're going to want to submit it through a shop, possibly, or an individual. Then you can go talk to those individuals and to see who you feel the most comfortable submitting your books with. Because if you have some really big books, you need to feel comfortable with who you submit those books to.
Right, because it's on to them as far as packaging, shipping, protecting your book so that way there's no further damage in shipping.
It can be, for a lot of people, especially first timers, it can be a very scary process.
Oh yeah, you give some guy, $100 might be, a ton to you, or $10,000 might be a ton to you, which is irrelevant. You give them a book that means a lot to you monetarily or sentimentally, and you've got to trust this person to give you that book back.
Well, and also with that, I mean, going back to the trust thing, grading companies take anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months. They can take that long to grade.
Normally, a lot of time,
much longer.
much longer. Yeah.
So-
Most time you're gonna
A lot of times you're going to
4 months, 5
you're going to
months.
think, hey, this guy's ripped me off, and it's really the grading company that's taking the time.
And that's just because
They're busy.
they're extremely busy, and it's continually throughout the years. Grading books have become more and more popular, and they just don't have the manpower to keep up with the volume of books being submitted to them, get them turned around in a timely manner. You would think that they would hire more people, but then they also have to train them as well.
So with you yourself, PGX, CGC, CBCS, which do you prefer? And why?
PGX doesn't sell for as much, and that's mainly because there's been a lot of rumors,
A lot of controversy.
with PGX,
A lot of kind of shady deals.
a lot of shady deals. Yeah,
You just
A
Google
lot of switched
PGX.
lot of switched out books. Which, I mean, I guess,
that's almost an entire show to itself, talking about all the rumors of PGX. So I
PGX is out for
probably
you.
wouldn't go PGX. Now CGC and CBS, they're battling it out right now. CGC was basically for the most part, the only company to really go with for the longest time.
Yeah, it was
until
industry standard.
some of the members broke off and formed CBCS.
The founder.
The founder broke off.
Yeah.
and form CBCS. And I think Dal and me both agree. Right now, CBCS is probably grading a little bit tougher on books than CGC is. And CGC, I think, older CGC graded harder than newer CGC.
Okay.
So if you get an older labeled book, it's probably been graded, under tougher circumstances.
Right. Which, if they're really old on the CGC, there's a small blue border around it, and the lettering's very small. The newer ones, it's a larger number in the upper left corner.
It doesn't have a picture on it now, I think.
The newest ones you can get a picture done on it. They're brand new ones that they've had some case issues with, as far as the little Newton's rings, which is kind of looks like a clean glass.
Wavy.
The waves and the Newton's rings.
Which they've got that fixed. They've kind of taken a hybrid of the new case with the old case and kind of merged them together, and so it kind of looks actually pretty cool.
So, if you believe CBCS is stricter, would you not feel better about going to CGC? Because then you get a better grade.
As a reseller or dealer that sells in CGC stuff and graded stuff, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But as if I'm getting a graded book, I'd probably want CBCS.
Yeah, I think myself.
CGC seems to be the one that sells the most.
Right.
I think
it's definitely the industry standard.
20% or 2% somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think it varies on the book, really.
Right, but it does the.
But yeah,
past sales, it's been higher going through CGC. Myself, I prefer to grade with CGC, but I do like the cases of CBCS better. They seem like CGC. I've had probably half a dozen cracked cases, and that's the worst thing. And it's not even like a big drop. It's like a 2-inch drop, and that thing's got a hairline for it.
Now, are you referring to the old cases or the newer cases?
Not the brand new. I haven't had any of the brand new cases. The ones that they just, kind of put into retirement. Those were, horrible. It seemed, to chip and or their hairline cracked. And the CBCS, when you stack them, they seemed a lot tighter. CGC, when they send you back your books, they've got 2 protective sleeves. They've got an inner one and then an outer one. CGC, to me, it seemed like the cases got scratched easier. So I would always keep on the little protective, the small kind of sealed one to try to avoid that. Whereas CBCS seems a lot more durable. And CBCS with their new cases too, both present very nicely. I don't like the numbering on the new CBCS cases. It looks kind of a little off, like 9-2 is kind of the two.
Doesn't look quite professional, I guess.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a little 2-year-old through it or something.
CBCS's book their casings basically push CGC to start having these new cases. And
I think that's a good thing, is you've got competition now. You can't just rest on your laurels. And, people are going to go to the competition. And soon you're going to be out of business. Funny, CGC actually started with Wizard.
Okay.
Wizard Magazine back in the day. We really started a partnership with them, and that's where they kind of really blew up, took off real well.
So another topic, along with getting books graded and what books to grade, someone had asked about, which kind of falls in line, setting up at shows. More and more shows are popping up, smaller shows, which are good. You can get a lot of those. You get smaller individual dealers versus large, big box companies that, have a million books and, don't want to haggle with you. Whereas in a smaller individual, you can find better deals.
I don't want to say the term mom and pa.
Well, yeah,
that's kind of what they are. They're kind of like, mom and pop shows.
Right.
And they're great, believe me.
When you set up at those, how many of the books do you guys take are graded versus, to use as wall books, which are just higher end books?
Actually, this last weekend I did the Dallas Comic Show, and I had 6 or 8 graded books on my wall.
Okay. Would you prefer to keep more or less?
Actually, it's funny you mention that, because one thing I and another dealer noticed was people would want to look at a book, and instead of just taking a look, just looking at the front cover, they were taking it and tilting it and really inspecting it. That's the first time I'd seen that, to that extent. And they're just looking at it, taking it out, looking all over for defects.
Right. I think more people are getting more into.
They're getting more savvy about it.
Yeah, as far as is this gradable and all that.
Right, exactly.
I think more people, as a show standpoint, when you set up at a show, I think more people like to look at graded books, but more people will buy a raw book, hoping, to have it graded, and where there's still enough margin where they're like, man, this is a $600 book, and I paid $200 for it.
Exactly. It's kind of a status symbol thing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, man, like you said, I paid $200 for this. It's a $600 book. What can you beat me with it at?
Right.
I think a lot of people that are not saying this, they enjoy comics, but they're not necessarily savvy. about comics will buy graded books just because they have more of a guarantee
Right.
of what they're getting.
That's true.
And so once they start getting into that, usually their comics start to that's all they start buying. Like we were talking earlier, is graded books because it's a guarantee, and they don't want to become savvy in it. They don't want to have to learn how to grade, so they just rely on the companies.
But to go hand in hand with that is they need to learn market value. They need to learn price. They need to learn that, hey, this is a graded 9.8 and it guides at in the price guide at $600. This guy's got it for $1,200 because it's graded. But
I noticed, yeah.
I mean, they need to understand that they need to really shop around, basically look for other places that have that book in that grade, and whether it's like you said, if it's graded, CGC, we'll call it that, just generic term. That way they know what they're paying for.
Right. Education's key.
Education's always key. I've noticed that a lot of people that are not they're not savvy, they're not that in depth into comics. They just see a 9.8 and they start fishing out their wallet for it. They're not looking really for the book. They're just looking for like maybe a status symbol to put on their wall or something.
It's more that side is more the speculation and investing side.
Well, I'm not even talking about. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the.
To say you have this at this grade.
I like the people when I'm at a show that you can have two the identical book. One is a 9.8 and one's a 9.6, and they look at you like the 9.6 is the worst thing in the world. And you're like, there's no perceivable differences unless you microscope that.
Exactly, because near mint is
9.
Or near mint, very fine near mint.
Very fine near mint is
9. Near mint is what, 9.2?
9.2, yeah.
So anything above a 9.2 is minimal.
Right. It's funny that they're that.
But everyone
picky.
chases the 9.8.
Yeah, it has become where nobody will even touch a book unless it's a 9.8.
Yeah, I mean, they turn their nose up. Just kind of like you were doing when you're talking about it.
Right.
I was not.
You hate 9.6s.
No,
he's offered you a few 9.6s. You turned him down. You said that's not.
But what you're saying. But back to what you were saying. I think I know where you're going with it. Was that they're trying to? They don't really care what the book was. It's just that they have it.
Right. They don't really.
And like you're saying, like we were saying, it's a status symbol.
Right.
Hey, I got this. Well, for me.
And then they're usually not. They usually don't know much about these. I'm not saying everybody, but I've just noticed a lot of people that are buying these. They don't really know a lot about comic books. That's fine.
Right.
But they just like to run out and buy these 9.8 books for some reason.
I picked up about a year ago. I started deciding I wanted to pick up graded books to keep in my collection. And so I went out and I picked up a 9.8 graded Killing Joke. I liked the story, and that's something I wanted to keep for myself. And granted, I have an ungraded copy that I do take to shows and sell, or when I set up, I try to sell.
Or break out and read.
Or if I wanted to break it out and read it, yeah.
Yeah, once you get it graded, you're not going to.
And that's the big argument with that.
No.
I don't want to say stick in the muds, but the older mentality is that once you grade it, you can't read it. Well, there's trade paperbacks out now.
Yeah, a lot of trade paperbacks.
You can find the story pretty easily if you want to read it.
Yeah, we have new technology now. They're called iPads or pads. And
I mean, I wouldn't suggest buying a graded
comics on
181 and then a greader 181. You're gonna pay too much.
Right.
But you can go pick up the Coming of Wolverine trade or something, and it's in there.
Right.
Or any reprints they've done in the last 7 years.
Yeah. So with shows, what are your biggest suggestions? Shows are popping up everywhere.
They are. Like I said, during the Dallas show, this last weekend, down in the Texas area, you had 3 other shows going the same weekend.
Wow, that's a lot of shows.
Plus, I heard this mega event was happening in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area called Collector Con.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah,
Rob Bruce there.
And I heard Rob Bruce was going to be there.
Yeah.
Or it was there. I was not able to make it because I was down in Dallas. But yeah, they're popping up because people are seeing that people are going to these things and making money, and so they're thinking, oh, I can put a con on, I can do this, I can do that, and so it's just like you say, they're popping up, and they're just really oversaturating.
That kind of leads us into a whole other topic about oversaturation of comics. So
yeah.
But as far as if you're going to be a dealer,
whole new topic there.
The biggest things is what are the books you're going to take? In order to do well at a show, you have to be willing to negotiate and haggle on prices,
right?
Because everyone's going to do it. You're not going to have and you're not going to have the only Batman Adventures 12. You're not going to have only bigger key books and then the smaller key books. You're You're not going to be the only one there. Be willing to haggle, take cheaper boxes, and maximize your area. Myself, I used to do a lot of antique shows. The biggest thing people had in antique shows and also antique booths, they had the cleanest floors you ever seen. There's no need to have a clean space under your table. Put your long boxes under there, put 50 cents or $1 on them, let people bend over. They'll have no problem bending over, looking through those long boxes. Maximize your space if you're going to be a dealer. The same thing if you're going to be a con goer. Be aware that a lot of the dealers are there to make deals. They might have $500 on a book, offer $350, offer $400. At worst, they're going to say is no.
Be reasonable with the offer. Don't walk up. The guy has a $500 say, I'll give you $100 right now for that book.
And generally, most dealers already know they're going to deal, so that a lot of times you will see higher prices on their books because they've marked it up for that.
All right, so to wrap it up about the grading and stuff, because I know we're probably running short on time.
And there's a lot more questions we can answer. This
exactly.
This could be another whole show.
We will definitely come back to this topic.
We're going to bring
a later
show.
Expert. We'll have an expert with us next time we revisit it probably. Basically, the key thing on anything with grading and with the comics is educate yourself. Know what you got. If you're going to sell it, do the work yourself.
Yeah, education.
Or take the loss and sell it to a shop and not worry about it.
I mean, weigh your time.
If you want to get the most out of it, you're going to have to spend the time.
Yeah.
Right. So you're just going to have to spend your time as best you can wisely.
All right. This is Captain Dalian.
Terry the French Tickler at French.
And I'm Eric the Knucklehead. Don't forget, check us out YouTube, Comic Book Straight Talk. We're on Google Play. We're on iTunes. You can listen to the podcast on the website, collectorcon.org. We have a Facebook page. Make sure you go to the page, like it, follow the page. We update on there when we're going to put new shows. Also, send us your suggestions.
Right now, we're running a contest. I'm doing, and I'm sure we probably get the group to do it too. If you throw in a suggestion to us off the page, and we use it, then if you're local in the area, you come by and pick it up at Comic Empire. If not, message Eric, Terry, or myself off the Facebook, and we'll send you out a prize.
Yep. So it's a nice way to say thanks for listening to us, and we enjoy your suggestions. A lot of the shows that we've done so far are based off suggestions, stuff you guys want to hear. Again, we want to thank you for your time, and we will see you next time.